Part 149. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1481. Chapter 1481 Composite Plan 2. Yes, Jian Yuman nodded wildly and said excitedly. Grandma, you have seen the changes in Xingai in the past few years. He has a heart disease in his heart. Now that the medicine for his heart is in place, it is up to us to add some auxiliary medicine so that he can cure the disease and return to his former self. Angry, don't you think everyone is happy with this? Looking at the expectant looks of the juniors, Grandma Tang finally let go and nodded with a smile. I promise you, just tell me. How do you need my cooperation? Jian Yuman's smile instantly turned cunning. She gently held Yang Yanliu's hand and talked about the plan with Grandma Tang in detail. After hearing the plan, the corners of Grandma Tang's mouth kept twitching, and the look in her eyes when she looked at Jian Yuman became weird and meaningful. Xiao Man'er, I didn't expect that your little head is full of all kinds of random ideas. Jian Yuman touched his head sheepishly and smiled brightly. As long as the clever idea is useful and can help Lulu, she doesn't care so much about the process. The most important thing is the result. It is not a big deal to help Yang Yanliu and the lovers get together and come up with some bad ideas. Let's go, follow me, this old man, to find Xingai. Grandma Tang smiled and waved to the two youngsters. Jian Yuman immediately leaned over with a smile, holding Grandma Tang's arm, and winked mischievously at Yang Yanliu. Three women came to find Tang Xingai. Tang Xingai was not at the company or school, but was on vacation at home with his long-lost son. Xiao Wangwang, who left his mother, has been crying since yesterday. His voice has become hoarse from crying, and he is still crying with his mouth open. Tang Xingai rubbed his forehead unbearably and stared at his son. Stop crying, his patience was exhausted. When little Wang Wang heard that Tang Xingai was hurting him, even though he couldn't cry, he still shouted for his mother in a hoarse voice. He looked very pitiful and pitiful. Tang Xingai became even more upset after crying like this, and walked to Xiao Wang Wang fiercely. If you cry again, believe it or not, I will beat you. Xiao Wang Wang was successfully frightened by Tang Xingai and looked at him in horror. This time I didn't cry anymore, but at the same time I was even more afraid of Tang Xingai. I took a step forward and hid in a corner, silently in a daze. He missed his mother, he wanted her so much. Tang Xingai's face was stiff, and he didn't know how to get along with children. He didn't know how to behave except for his fierce son. Even if you want to coax him, you can't do it. The doorbell rang at this moment. Tang Xingai glanced at his son and stepped forward helplessly to open the door. When the door opened, the people he saw were Grandma Tang and others. He frowned displeased and looked quickly at Yang Yanliu with sharp eyes. What is this woman doing? Is it possible to find Grandma to the child? Grandma, why are you here? He looked at Yang Yanliu again. Why did you bring these two women here? What is this woman? Grandma Tang raised her crutch and hit him on the calf unceremoniously. Watch your words, this is my great-grandson's mother, your son's mother. Is this woman worthy? Tang Xingai, don't go too far. Jian Yuman couldn't stand it anymore. She didn't expect Tang Xingai to say such ugly words. Yang Yanliu's face turned very pale, and he didn't even have the courage to look at Tang Xingai, so he lowered his head cowardly. His body was trembling slightly, trying hard not to turn around and run away. There are updates coming. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1482. Chapter 1482 Composite Plan 3. She can't run away. What are these insults? Compared with parting with her son, these insults are nothing at all. She must endure it and cannot be beaten away by his words. If she can't endure it now, how can we talk about getting along with him in the future? Yang Yanliu kept comforting her heart. She couldn't be weak or timid. She had to be as strong as ever. She couldn't drive her away or scold her. "What are you doing here?" Tang Xingai was a little impatient. "Are you going to stand at the door and not let us in?" Grandma Tang spoke, and even though Tang Xingai looked reluctant, he still let Yang Yanliu in. "It's just that iceberg face that's even more ugly. Grandma Tang is worthy of being the former chairman of the Tang dynasty group." 2 years ago, Grandma Tang officially stepped down from her post, retired, and handed over the Tang dynasty group to her younger generation. She walked into the room forcefully, sat on the sofa, and used the crutch in her hand to point to the sofa opposite. "Come and sit down." Tang Xingai came over and sat down obediently, but his expression still smelled as if he had fallen into a stinking ditch. Qian Yuman was not polite to Tang Xingai and found the best seat to watch the excitement. Yang Yanliu stood at the door in fear, not daring to come in. He lowered his head and stood uneasily. She was glared at by Tang Xingai a few times just now, so she didn't dare to come in at will. Grandma Tang couldn't see the way her grandson looked at Yang Yanliu. She raised her crutch and hit Tang Xingai hard and unceremoniously. "Hey, Grandma, why did you hit me?" Tang Xingai turned away and rubbed the place where Grandma Tang had hit him, and asked dissatisfiedly. "Why are you looking at Lulu so fiercely? You scared her?" After speaking, Grandma Tang raised her crutch and hit Tang Xingai. Tang Xingai had a cold face and dodged, but he didn't dare to hurt his grandma, so he shouldn't let himself be beaten. "Lulu, sit next to me." Grandma Tang gave up hitting Tang Xingai because she was afraid of tapping the spot next to her to make Yang Yanliu come over. "Good." Yang Yanliu timidly glanced at Tang Xingai secretly, and sure enough, when he saw his cold eyes looking at her, he shrank in fright, but walked over obediently. Tang Xingai's face turned even worse, and he didn't look away for a moment. Yang Yanliu sat down and grabbed Grandma Tang anxiously. "Grandma, little Wang Wang. Why didn't she see the child? Where did the child go?" Yang Yanliu looked around, but did not see the child, nor did he hear the child's cry. Could it be that General Tang Xingai still moved to another place to hide? "Where are the people?" Grandma Tang pretended to hit her again. Tang Xingai jumped up and replied with an ugly face. This woman Yang Yanliu actually knows how to ask her grandma and sister-in-law for help. I really underestimated her before. "In my room." Tang Xingai pointed to his room. Yang Yanliu quickly rushed into the room from Tang Xingai's room and looked around, but did not see Xiao Wang Wang. "What about the children?" Yang Yanliu searched with some pretense, and finally found the dazed little Wang Wang in the blind corner behind the curtain. He seemed to be immersed in his own world and did not notice that his mother, whom he missed day and night, came to see him. Seeing the condition of the child, Yang Yanliu cried softly and uncomfortably, with tears constantly rolling in his eyes. "Wang Wang, I am Mom, and Mom is here to see you." The dazed little Wang Wang responded and slowly looked in the direction of Yang Yanliu. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1483. Chapter 1483 Composite Plan 4. Sad eyes turned into surprise the moment he saw Yang Yanliu, and the smile on his face exploded. He happily stood up and rushed towards Yang Yanliu. "Mother!" Little Wang Wang opened his small mouth, but no sound came out. He had been crying dumb just now. Yang Yanliu also discovered the condition of his child and could no longer control his tears. He knelt down and hugged his son, crying silently. "Child, it's your mother's fault that made you scared. Mom is here now, and she will never let you leave her again." Yang Yanliu murmured painfully, and at the same time made a promise to Xiao Wang Wang. Little Wang Wang was very happy and wanted to comfort her mother not to cry. She wanted to tell her mother that little Wang Wang would not leave her, but her voice was hoarse from crying and she could not speak. She was a little depressed. This scene fell in the eyes of Grandma Tang and others. They all felt sorry for the little child, because the problems between his parents left a big shadow in his heart. "You bastard, how can you take care of a child? You only took care of the child for 2 days and you ended up like this." Grandma Tang raised her crutch and slapped Tang Xingai hard. She was not polite at all and she hit harder than before. He would be bruised for several days. Tang Xingai felt guilty. He didn't protest at all against Grandma Tang's beating. He didn't even hide this time. As for his son's situation, he also knew that he handled it badly and he could not give feedback. Everyone looked bad, and Tang Xingai didn't even dare to show his face to everyone. Even Grandma Tang and Qian Yuman jointly scolded him a lot, but they couldn't calm these three mothers. Little Wang Wang stopped crying and hugged her mother very contentedly and sat on her lap. He was a little tired from all the noisy activities these days, and soon he fell asleep and fell into a deep sleep. No matter how much the adults said, they couldn't wake him up from his sleep. Grandma Tang spoke first. "Go, if it leaves an indelible psychological shadow on little Wang Wang, you, the father, will be the one to blame. It'll be fine as long as the children get used to it." Tang Xingai was still stubborn. "Just get used to it, where can you get used to it?" Grandma Tang wanted to hit her grandson again. "Just like what we did just now, let the child sit dumbly in the corner without saying a word. In the long run, don't make the child develop autism." Tang Xingai's face darkened, and he understood that Grandma was right, this kind of thing might really happen. "Okay. I will let Lulu take the child back and take care of it." "Why?" Tang Xingai was displeased. "Grandma, this is the flesh and blood of our Tang family. How can we let such a woman take away the child? What if the child is just like her, desperate for money?" "Xingai, you misunderstood. In fact, Lulu had difficulties back then." Qian Yuman opened her mouth to argue for Yang Yanliu. "How much hardship can she have? She accepted the money and promised my mother to leave me. These two things cannot be faked. What makes me even more depressed is that this woman actually favored me in order to steal my child. Aborted the child. He has been living in pain for so many years. He deeply remembers the pain when he learned that she had aborted the child. It also made him unable to witness the birth and growth of the child." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1484. Chapter 1484 Jumping off the building 1. That's not a plot designed by your mother to break you up. That's enough, I don't want to hear your excuses for her. Tang Xingai obviously didn't want to talk more, his face could not be darker, and the veins in his hands were bulging out. How much anger and pain was there to do this? Some reactions. If Grandma Tang wasn't here, she might have kicked people out. Grandma Tang had a serious face and spoke out the purpose of coming here today. "Xingai, in order for the child to grow up healthily and to grow up in the arms of his parents, your only choice now is to go to Liuliu." Tang Xingai's eyes flickered and his face was gloomy. "Grandma, this is impossible. It is impossible for me to marry her. You have to get married even if you don't want to get married." Grandma Tang's attitude was tough, even threatening. "Haha, what benefits did you get from this woman, so that you can speak for her?" Tang Xingai looked at Yang Yanliu with cold eyes, not hiding the disgust in his eyes at all. "I didn't expect you to be such a scheming woman." Yang Yanliu's emotions were constantly ups and downs, and she couldn't help crying for a long time. She didn't know that her original choice was to push their love into the abyss with her own hands. Any reasons and excuses are mostly self-deception. Even if she was more determined and was expected to be so weak, she would not let Lu Rong's trick succeed, and in the end their father and son would be separated. Yang Yanliu gently placed the child on the sofa and stood up. His eyes were no longer timid and fearful. He looked straight at Tang Xingai, and the deep affection in his eyes was no longer concealed. By being around him, he can grow up healthily and happily. After saying these words, Yang Yanliu suddenly ran outside. Tang Xingai frowned, not really liking the way she spoke later, as if she was saying goodbye. Qian Yuman stood up anxiously to chase after him. Seeing that Tang Xingai was still sitting on the sofa unmoved, she was so angry that she slapped him on the back of the head rudely, just like when he was a teenager. "Why don't you go after it? Aren't you afraid that Lulu will be confused and regret it for the rest of your life?" Tang Xingai's pupils instantly dilated. He quickly stood up and chased out anxiously. Seeing the man and woman running out, Grandma Tang and Qian Yuman, who was sitting on the sofa and smiling a little cunningly, glanced at each other and followed their steps unsteadily. When Tang Xingai caught up, the scene he saw made his heart hang in the air. He was so nervous that he didn't dare to take a breath. His heart felt like it was being pinched, causing pain all over his body, and fear prevented him from taking a step. Yang Yanliu ran up to the roof in one breath, stood on the edge, and looked into the distance. The body is shaky, as if it might fall at any time. "Yang Yanliu, what are you doing?" He was obviously scared, but the words he spoke out were filled with accusations. Yang Yanliu slowly turned his head, looked at Tang Xingai, and smiled sadly. "Xingai, the choice I made back then was the biggest mistake in my life, the choice I regret most. I am an adult now, and I should bear the responsibility for my choices, so I should completely disappear in front of you and stop disturbing you. No, I'll make things difficult for you again." After saying that, she moved a little further to the side. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1485. Chapter 1485 Jumping off the building 2. Tang Xingai's whole body went cold for an instant, as if the most important thing in his life was about to be completely lost, which made him deeply afraid. "Luer, don't worry about it." 4 years later, Yang Yanliu heard Tang Xingai's intimate call again, could no longer control his emotions and cried. In the past period of time, he was either described by this woman or that woman, and he rarely even called her by her first name. I didn't expect to hear him shout like that again, but in this situation. "Xingai, I'm really happy that you can call me Luer again." Yang Yanliu cried so hard that she looked so pitiful and endearing. She was originally a very beautiful woman, but as she grew up, she became even more beautiful. Although she became a mother at the age of 17, she only makes her look more feminine. She is a gentle woman who is as tender as water, but her maternal brilliance is even more dazzling. Tang Xingai had to admit that the moment he saw her again, he was struck by her beauty. It is impossible for her to cry without feeling anything. After all, she was his first girlfriend and the only woman he had ever loved. Even though I have hated her and complained about her for so many years. What happened back then, I really knew I was wrong. But I knew, so what if I knew I was wrong? When I made the choice, I could see the picture of our future. But so what, did I have a choice? I was just a woman played by fate. Is it my fault that I am poor? Is it my fault that I love money? If I grew up in a family like yours, I would definitely not make this choice, and it would even be welcomed by your mother. Accept it and be blessed by all. After so many years, I finally understand how important it is to be in the right family, and I also understand how terrible it is to fall in love early. The moment you fall in love, you are destined to get hurt. We should not have tasted the forbidden fruit in our early years. If we were not pregnant, we could still spend more time together, and at least we could spend 3 years of high school in an ordinary way. Instead of breaking up miserably like now, traveling to another country to secretly give birth to the child, and being afraid that you will take the child away if you know about it. I don't blame others, I only blame myself, and even more so fate. Why did you let me know you? If I didn't know you, I wouldn't have so much pain. Zingai, I'm sorry. If there is an afterlife, we should not fall in love with each other anymore. Let's torture each other, okay? Okay, we don't love each other anymore, come here quickly. Tang Zingai waved, his voice a little softer. I won't go through with it. I have thought about it. If I die early, I can avoid being born at the same time as you. Then we will no longer be able to fall in love. Yang Yanliu smiled, and his smile was very sad. At this time, Qian Yuman and Grandma Tang came belatedly and saw Yang Yanliu standing sadly on the edge of the roof, her hair fluttering in the wind. It was really beautiful. Lulu, you stupid kid, what are you doing? Grandma Tang walked forward quickly with a cane. Grandma, don't come over. Grandma Tang Zingai held on to Grandma Tang, fearing that Yang Yanliu would jump if Grandma Tang passed a little further. Lulu, don't think too hard. Everything is easy to talk about. Come here and let's talk about it, okay? Qian Yuman nervously pulled Tang Zingai and pointed at Yang Yanliu, asking him to say more nice things. Tang Zingai's face still had the look of the cold iceberg handsome guy before. Please call me stepmother. Waka kaka. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1486. Chapter 1486 Jumping off the building 3. Tang Zingai's face still had the look of the cold iceberg handsome guy before. Having been tormented like this by Yang Yanliu, I was at a loss what to do. He never expected that the seemingly weak Yang Yanliu would do something so violent. She is just a woman and cannot bear his torture. There are obviously a lot of things he wants to say in his heart, but his mouth is so broken that he can't say a word with his hands. I wanted to ask her to come down, and I wanted to say words of comfort to her, but when it came to my mouth. It's all your fault for being such a bastard. You let a girl give birth to a child for you, and you still want to take the child away. Now I can't think about it anymore. Are you very happy? Grandma Tang was so angry that she picked up the crutch and hit her hard. Beat Tang Zingai. Lulu, I will help you teach this a lesson. Don't be angry if this treats you like this. I will lock up this brat. Come and beat him with me. If he dares to say a word, Grandma will beat him to death. While Grandma Tang was talking, the crutch still beat him unceremoniously. Tang Zingai didn't dare to say a word. He kept looking at Yang Yanliu, for fear that if he moved away, she would jump downstairs. Grandma, don't hit me. Yang Yanliu was horrified. Grandma Tang's beating was so severe that she could hardly continue the act. She rushed over to stop Grandma Tang from continuing to hit Tang Zingai. When we were discussing the plot just now, there was no such link. How is she going to continue acting? Okay, Grandma won't hit me anymore. Grandma Tang actually felt very happy when she hit her. She couldn't control herself for a while, so she hit her a few more times. Lulu, it's dangerous over there. Come here quickly. Don't make fun of your life. Little Wang Wang is still sleeping alone downstairs. If he wakes up and finds that his mother is gone, it will be so painful for him. You don't want your child to be without a mother, right? Qian Yuman slowly walked towards Yang Yanliu. Yang Yanliu lowered his head, seeming to be distressed and entangled. If I die, little Wang Wang will have no mother. That's right. If you die, what if Zingai treats him badly? What if Zingai finds a stepmother for little Wang Wang? Your son will be abused. No, you can't do this. Qian Yuman turned around and blinked at Tang Zingai. Tang Zingai also moved a small step forward. Yes, if you jump down, Little Wang Guang's life will be difficult in the future, and he may even find his stepmother to torture him. You can't do this, Yang Yanliu said excitedly, taking a step towards Tang Xingai. Little Wang Wang is so cute, you can't do that to him. Xingai, how about this? You promise Lulu not to find a stepmother and marry Lulu directly. I believe Lulu won't be distracted, Qian Yuman finally said what they planned to say. Impossible. What are you talking about? Qian Yuman was so angry that she wanted to hit him. Are you just watching Lulu jump off the building and die? Don't you love her anymore? Do you want to just watch her die in front of you? You are still not a human being. She gave you a child no matter what. You want Xiao Wang Wang to always hate you? Tang Xingai frowned and resisted Qian Yuman's suggestion. Xingai, Lulu, I am determined to be my granddaughter-in-law. No matter what, you must marry Lulu and give little Wang Wang a perfect family. Do you hear me? Grandma Tang said forcefully. At this moment, these people were walking closer and closer to Yang Yanliu, but Yang Yanliu seemed to be in a daze, but his footsteps were a little closer to them. Manman's routine is too deep, and our Xingai fell into the trap step by step, ha ha ha. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1487. Chapter 1487 Jumping off the building 4. At this moment, these people were walking closer and closer to Yang Yanliu, but Yang Yanliu seemed to be in a daze, but his footsteps were a little closer to them. She was actually a little scared standing on the edge, but in order to be more aggressive in acting, she had to get closer to the edge. Yes, Grandma is right. The best way now is for you to get back together. Wouldn't everything be happy? Qian Yuman kept pampering Tang Xingai and winking excitedly. Tang Xingai frowned and saw Yang Yanliu standing in a dangerous place. Thinking that she might not be able to think about it, he opened his mouth and almost agreed. Is it true that this is the only way to save yourself from hunger? But why did this woman become his wife? Even if he once loved her deeply, even if she was little Wang Guang's mother, even if he still had him in his heart, he couldn't let her go. Damn it, it. Why did he soften his heart when he faced the possibility of losing her forever, even though he knew she was a bad woman and a selfish woman? Tang Xingai's hesitation was seen by everyone, and no one urged him, but waited for his response. Tang Xingai's troubled look stung Yang Yanliu's eyes. A wry smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. She was really ridiculous. Why did she agree to teacher Qian and carry out such a ridiculous plan? Even if he agreed, he would be forced to do so. Even if he agreed, it was because the child did not want to lose his mother. No matter the force, they are no longer teenage lovers after all. Xingai, you don't have to be embarrassed. Yang Yanliu took a big step forward and got out of the dangerous area. She didn't want to force him anymore, she didn't want to force him anymore with the methods he said only scheming women would use. Is it really okay for her to do this for the sake of her children? She knew it was not good, but she still selfishly wanted to use this method to keep the child by her side. How could she not know that her children would do better if they followed Tang Xingai than if they followed her? They would receive a better education and become outstanding talents. What can be done by following her weak mother? Yang Yanliu escaped from the danger zone. Tang Xingai quickly reached out and pulled him into his arms, quickly taking a big step back. Then he hugged her and roared angrily. Are you a fool? Do you think everything will end if you die? Do you think you can get rid of everything by dying? For the sake of the children, is your method really good for Xiao Wang Wang? Isn't it just for the children? Okay, I agree to marry you, now you are satisfied. Tang Xingai had a dark face, hugged Yang Yanliu tightly, and roared at her. Holding her in his arms made him feel like he was holding a treasure in his arms again. Whether he was forced or voluntarily, he accepted it. Yang Yanliu looked at Tang Xingai dumbly, unable to believe his ears. Ha ha ha, great, you are finally back together. Jian Yuman laughed loudly, moved closer to Grandma Tang, and shook hands with each other. This collaboration is good, and it successfully brings these former lovers together. Everything that happened today is in their eyes, and they clearly understand that the relationship between the couple is still there. They believe that they will become a loving couple if they get along more with each other after marriage and slowly get to know each other. Yang Yanliu still looked at Tang Xingai in disbelief, and when he saw how nervous he was for himself, he finally burst into laughter. Are you really willing to marry me? Congratulations to Xingai and Liu. Although they still have a long way to go, and although there are still many barriers and knots in their hearts, in the face of love, all these are nothing. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1488. Chapter 1488. The plan to remarry 1. Tang Xingai let go of Yang Yanliu, looked elsewhere, and coughed awkwardly. You think I'm happy to marry you, I just don't want little Wang Wang to lose her mother. After saying this, he shook his head and left proudly. But when I left, I still held Yang Yanliu tightly in my hand, and I was still a little worried that she would impulsively jump off the building again. I don't want to force you. I don't like that you talk too much, and you still need to take care of my son. Tang Xingai's expression softened a lot, but he still maintained his cold and arrogant expression, which was almost twisted. Obviously he was very worried about Yang Yanliu, but he still pretended not to care about her at all. Looking at them, one of them paralyzed with arrogance, and the other looked like a docile little wife, holding hands and leaving. As a matchmaking duo, Jian Yuman and Grandma Tang get together to bless each other. It's a pleasure to work with. Happy to work with. Then they looked at each other and smiled, feeling extremely happy. Jian Yuman silently marked down a successful case of matchmaking in her notebook. Including Father Qi and Mother Qian, Lilei and Murong Ye, and then counting this pair, we are the third team, Wang Tianyu and Anyil could barely be considered a couple, but it was nothing like that. She successfully made 4 couples successful. Wow, during the wedding, there is a lot of pork to eat, and you can receive a lot of matchmaker gifts. There is a kind of person with a speed that even Jian Yuman cannot catch up with. That is the couple Tang Xingai and Yang Yanliu. Yes, they are already a couple. After the turbulent suicide, Tang Xingai made a quick decision and took Yang Yanliu to register as a legal couple that afternoon. As for the wedding, he has no plans to do it. Yang Yanliu didn't have any objection. It was a great joy to be his wife. It was a blessing from God to be able to take care of the child and give him a father and mother. She also understood that there were still many problems between her and Xingai Zhong, and she didn't dare to ask him to give her a grand wedding. Jian Yuman and Grandma Tang will not interfere too much in the future relationship between their husband and wife. At most, they will mediate and add fuel to the flames. Little Wang Wang finally woke up and had a father and a mother. However, little Wang Wang was still very afraid of his father and did not dare to talk to him. Every time he hid in Yang Yanliu's arms and looked at him timidly. For Tang Xingai to become a qualified father, it also requires a journey that is not simple. Tang Xingai and Yang Yanliu have gotten back together. How could Jian Yuman want to just let it go? She and Mr. Tang haven't gotten back together yet. Thinking about how she carefully prepared a cake to propose, but the cake was eaten by her children and the ring was thrown away, causing her to look for it at home all day long without finding it. Where are you? I'm going crazy, God is going to kill me. Jian Yuman lay on the ground and searched all over the place, while forcing her son and daughter to search together. When Tang Yuj got home, he saw one big and 2 little ones lying on the ground, moving their hands and feet constantly, like 3 big insects squirming. The picture was so interesting that Tang Yuj took out his mobile phone, took a picture of the mother and son, and sent it to WeChat Moments to share with everyone. Text content, the life of rice insects with 3 treasures in the family. Immediately received a lot of envy and jealousy from relatives and friends. Everyone thought that Tanyuj was showing off his lovely wife and adorable twins. Everybody, go to sleep. Your Majesty may have an update later. So don't wait any longer, come and take a look tomorrow morning. The next few chapters are highly sweet, are you ready? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1489. Chapter 1489 The Plan to Remarry 2. Chapter 1516 The Plan to Remarry 2. Tanyuj looked at everyone's messages with interest, but the 3 who were focused on looking for the ring still didn't notice that Tanyuj was back. It wasn't until Tanyuj took the video and posted it to Moments again that little Mickey finally discovered Tanyuj. Ah, Daddy, you are back. Wow. Daddy, 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 Daddy Ruru, who was squatting, raised her little face excitedly when she heard her brother's cry, and immediately flew into Tanyuj's arms like a little butterfly, and said to him suddenly acted coquettishly. Daddy, have you missed Ruru? Ruru misses you. A certain woman discovered that Tanyuj was back, but she was wailing in pain. Mr. Tang, come and save me, I can't get up. Jian Yuman bent over, put her hands on the ground, and screamed in pain at Tanyuj. She lay on the ground for so long that she couldn't straighten up. She wanted to imitate her daughter and fly over to ask for a kiss, but she couldn't do it and asked for help. Tanyuj held his daughter in his arms and looked at Jian Yuman holding her waist with her head on the ground, looking at him pitifully, and laughed without shame. Do you still have humanity? Be careful that I break up with you, Jian Yuman complained dissatisfiedly. Tanyuj put down his daughter, picked up Jian Yuman and put her on the bed. That's it now. Jian Yuman shook his head quickly. This is not enough. After speaking, you must dot your red lips and have a romantic French kiss. What do you mean? Tanyuj deliberately pretended to be stupid and found it interesting to see her disappointed look. Roar, Jian Yuman puffed out his cheeks angrily, hooked Tanyuj's neck, and took the initiative to attack. The forgotten little Mickey reached out to cover Ruru's eyes, and Ruru clapped her brother's hand unhappily. Brother, why don't you show it to Ruru? You are young. Why? This, my brother doesn't understand either, the book says it can't be done. How should I explain it to my sister? He also just understood that when his parents did this, they should not look at it inappropriately. But isn't brother watching now? Why don't you bring Ruru with you? Brother is so good. Little Mickey was speechless after receiving the feedback, but finally let go of his sister's hand and watched Daddy and Mommy making love together. When the two hugged each other and rolled around on the bed, in Ruru's little world, she was very puzzled as to why her daddy kept nibbling on Mommy, and even gnawed happily. How good Daddy is. He actually hit Mommy. At a young age, Ruru still knew that men were not allowed to hit men, so she angrily pushed open the half-open door and rushed in. Little Mickey wanted to hold his sister back, but it was too late. He watched his sister rush to his parents' bedside and angrily pointed at Tanyuj and scolded her. Daddy, how can you hit Mommy? I want to tell Grandpa and Grandma. The man and woman on the bed stopped, looked at Ruru, whose face was red with anger, and burst into laughter at the same time. Ruru, Daddy, and Mommy are playing, Tanyuj explained with a smile. You can't explain that, this is their fun. Liar, Ruru clearly saw you beating Mommy. The couple were speechless at the same time. Daddy, you are a man and it is wrong to hit a woman. Okay, Daddy knows he's wrong. You and your brother are going out to play, and Daddy is busy with business. He felt uncomfortable being teased by a little woman like Jian Yuman, but Ruru was the one who interrupted the good business. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1490. Chapter 1490. You have always been my wife. 1. Okay, Daddy knows that he is wrong. You and your brother are going out to play, and Daddy is busy with business. He felt uncomfortable being teased by this little woman Jianyuman, but Ruru interrupted the good business. Tanyu's perfunctory tone made Ruru leave just like that despite her unwillingness. She decided that it was her father who was beating her mother, and when she was found out, her attitude was very bad. Daddy, I'm going to file a complaint. Brother, give me your cell phone and I'll call Grandma. Ruru asked her brother for his cell phone with an angry face. Little Mickey really handed the phone to his sister. Tanyuj rushed over with a black look on his face and snatched his daughter's mobile phone. Ruru, you really misunderstood Daddy. If his family knew about this, he would not laugh to death. It seems that next time you are at home with Jian'er, you must lock the door, otherwise these two little guys will open the door and come in to watch the fun and disturb him. Daddy, it's wrong to lie. Tanyuj gave up struggling and looked at Jianyuman asking for help. You must not give your daughter the impression that he is a bad father who loves to lie and beats his wife. Jianyuman covered her mouth and kept laughing. Seeing Tanyuj's deflated look, she smiled and walked over to touch her daughter's hair. Baby, Daddy is not spanking Mommy, he is helping to swat the mosquitoes when he finds there are mosquitoes on Mommy's butt. Tanyuj's mouth twitched and he looked at Jianyuman speechless. Is this an acceptable explanation? Obviously the result was very good. Ruru really believed what Jianyuman said. Oh. Daddy, I misunderstood you, I'm sorry. Ruru bowed obediently to apologize, looking so cute. Finally taking away the two younger ones, Tanyuj looked at Jianyuman excitedly again. Jian'er, let's continue. Jianyuman shook his head and walked out. I'm going to play with the kids. Ah. No. My little gun is still in gear and needs to be fired. Tanyuj spread his legs and chased out quickly. Jianyuman turned a deaf ear and pretended not to hear, but there was a sly smile in his eyes. She knew how to deceive Tanyuj. For the next whole week, Tanyuj had a dark face because he was not satisfied with his desires for a whole week. I don't know what happened this week. Jianyuman seduced him every day. After the seduction was over, she patted his and went to play with the child. Or the child suddenly takes his mother away and says he wants to go to an amusement park or eat delicious food. In a word, having children has delayed his enjoyment of life. He originally thought that having children was a very happy thing, but now it seems that he is looking for a beating. After Tanyuj couldn't bear it anymore, he left the child with Grandma Tang. He wanted to live in a world of two people. Jianyuman didn't express anything from the beginning to the end. Seeing that he had taken the child to Tang's house, she immediately got ready at home. First take a fragrant bath, put on and chic pajamas, spray on musky perfume, prepare the ring that you finally found a few days ago, and prepare to propose again. During this period, with Jianyuman's deliberate efforts, the babies succeeded in making Tanyuj not eat them even once. When Tanyuj comes back, she will, he. After finally sending away the two troublemakers, Tanyuj breathed a sigh of relief, threw away his car keys and rushed into the room quickly. Jian'er, where are you? At this moment, a piece of dynamic music sounded in the room. Tanyuj looked confused. What happened? End of this chapter.